More mystery. So yeah, this is 6. This is episode 5 and episode 6, which this mystery I do like, but not as much as the other. So this is another small sort of a bit of a town mystery, but I find this is interesting compared to episode 1 and 2, which had one, because most of those sort of had a sort of tight group. You had the sort of some people who sort of had a small thing that you would notice someone come in or out. But this one is more a bridge that is nearby, which I think is interesting. It also brings up several things that happened beforehand. This is another one where one of the things that one of the people did, and I like the idea that he was actually trying to become better. You also have this thing of a situation happening of certain people that he was helping, which was the homeless, actually getting damaged for it and maybe being a motive for that happening. And that is really interesting that happens, that he went and tried to be a better person to sort of help the people who are homeless. This is also one, most of the others, they get it correct. This is one that they get it incorrect. One of the things that this has is that this has a sort of thing where one of the persons, like one of them before, was a killer. Or one that did this thing before. So he does this thing of watching people act away, which I think is a hero-like complex. I don't know what it is. I think this is game shows, and I don't think they're looking into psychology as much as some now if you did this, it's which is fair. But one of the things which is interesting is when the first time where we had a sort of town-like situation, they're mostly town, I think, except for episodes 3 and 4, which deal with the family, and then I think episode 9 and 10, which deals with a group of people at a casino, because episodes 5 and 6 deal with this small sort of rough town where you sort of have that situation. And episode 7 and 8 deals with another, I think, town. I also do like the differences. I'm not talking about 7 and 8 yet, but I like the fact that the town in this isn't really shown as much. You do have the hotel, but it's more focused on the hospital as the location. So, yes, you would find locations of where maybe the alibis were happening, maybe the alibis weren't happening. But some of the bigger things that were happening at the hotel, which makes sense. That is the crime scene, so a lot of stuff would happen. But you would also have the secret floor, the floor plan, and the mountain, all of which is useful. Whilst on this one, yes, actually, the bridge and the supporting area below the bridge, which I actually do cross, which I like. I also like the fact that there's certain scenes that's in a such other situation, this would happen, which is fully just because obviously this is not serious. They do acknowledge if this is a game show of sorts. This is them joking about what happened in the previous episode, someone playing a Pacific One, which is really interesting. Also, they nearly fell off. I think realistically, I think the thing's not that deep, so I think they will be mostly fine. I don't know, because it looks like water, so I don't know how deep it is, but I don't know. But I also like the idea that you have some of the houses, especially one of the people who are the suspects, house looks identical to, I think, the people who are involved, which I think was a key misdirect. It pays for his motive, which is because of that a homeless went to the wrong house, etc., etc., etc. and that was one of his motives. We also have another situation where someone who's kind turns into a straight up stalker. But again, this levels the intrigue. And when you learn later on after they fit, there were certain things about like getting fingers and keeping them in specific ways that was so dark. And about them being like, oh, they're going to reveal the crimes. And it's so interesting. Definitely when certain things are played later on of like learning this effed up, like, oh, I like doing this. Which again, I do like the thing that like the first one had, because both of them are sort of like leaders or heads of figures. The first one had a situation where they brought in these people they were like leaders of the people. One was a person who was a paramedic obsessed with watching people drown, which is not a good thing, that you kind of need to save people. One was a person who did murders for a reason. And at a certain point, one of them was the culprit. Because obviously, I would like to point out, in 7 and 8, you do have a similar theme. But like in this one, it actually is the person who has this thing. I don't think they mention it too much. I think there's like, oh, it's misdirection, or like, it's really, really interesting. And both, that you have both of these things. I definitely find it fun. I definitely like it. You also will notice that, like I said before, all people in each one of the mysteries are the same group of people. Because it is them just changing roles. I am slightly sad that, technically speaking, there's not 6 cases, because technically speaking there are 6 of them, so only 5 of them, because even the detective switches from one to the other. One of them didn't ever play the murderer, but at that point that would have been too obvious, being like, who's the murderer? Well, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it, and you've done it, so it must be you. I do find that probably a bad idea. I definitely find this absolutely interesting. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. We'll do the next one tomorrow, but I hope you enjoy, and good night.